information. Why take part in salons? How to enter salons? What are acceptances? Why do I want acceptances? What is a salon catalog? What are diamond ratings? Why international acceptances? What are the Impala trophies? We also talk of it singularly, but it's obviously is plural because there are more than one trophy. What does it cost to take part? And then some Impala log statistics from the current year. And the statistics are for the period 30th of June. So fortunately, I hope that that this is going to continue after me, and I think he's going to do the nicer part. Mine is sort of the dreary admin side. Salons are nothing but photographic exhibitions. So people enter photographs into a competition type of event, and then certain of those images are accepted and other images are rejected, and those accepted are then going into an exhibition. Who hosts salons? Photographic clubs like CDPS can host salons, or national associations like, for instance, the PSSA in South Africa can host salons. They appoint individuals as salon directors. So like in our salon so far, CDPS has appointed me as a salon director. And FIAP, in the case of FIAP International Salons, both the organizations and the salon directors must have had run a salon previously. For national salons, under the auspices of PSSA only, there's no such a requirement. Who can enter? In national salons, photographers from any country can enter, or worldwide if the salon is an international salon.
Sorry, Nico, have you changed slides? Because I still see your first slide. I don't see a presentation. Is that correct?
No, that's wrong. Leslie, what do you see?
Yeah, we only see your first slide, and it's not in slideshow. It's in the edit mode.
Yeah, I see the one with the notes on it. Let me just see. 6 slides already. 7, yeah. Shall I try again?
Yeah, now we okay.
See the PowerPoint sheet, huh? Leslie?
Yeah.
Okay, so from from the beginning, but then I get to a screen.
Okay, well,
it looks like the notes screen you get from.
It's sharing the note screen, yeah.
Yeah. What's happening? I'll put on my other screen. I don't know if that's interfering.
Unless you go back where you were just now and you just manually go down each slide on the left-hand side, then it will change on our screen as well.
Yeah, probably that's a better option.
Can you see it better now?
Yeah, no, we're on the next screen now. Yeah. Yeah, just do it manually like that.
Yeah. So I went through all those things. I went through that. I went through that as well. Slide. This. National salons can is done under the auspices of the PSSA, and international salons normally under FIAP, as far as we're concerned. There are normally quite strict conditions prescribed to what you must do as a salon director. It covers things like what categories and how many categories you can have, how many, the definitions of those categories, costs, rules, judges, who can be appointed as judges. For instance, under FIAP, you've got to have one judge with some kind of FIAP honors. Where can I find information of upcoming salons? As far as the PSSA is concerned, if you go to this link on the PSSA website, you see there's a list under the coming salons for the next salon year, which starts on the 1st of July. And you will find it under the salon menu. I was going to get back to my screen. Where's my screen now? Okay. And for FIAP, also similarly, if you go to the PSSA website, you will find there that there's the international category, and the FIAP salons are listed like this. And by the way, you don't have to take notes of these things. I will make the whole presentation away with the references in there. And you can see there's a whole list of salons that's come up. There are, I don't know how many, I scrolled through now, but say there were 20 or 30, and you can see how many screens they have. So there are literally hundreds of salons.
Nicole, your video is breaking up a little bit.
The video.
Sound actually is not great, and we back on the one slide.
This slide.
Okay, you're happy to be there?
No, I'm on slide 8.
8 we can see.
I'm going to 9 now. If anybody's got a problem following.
Yeah, no. It's
Why do I take part in salons? First of all, and most importantly, I think, is to measure yourself against people from other clubs, from other areas, from the Gauteng, for instance, who the people are particularly strong in salons in that area, or internationally. And then obviously some acceptances, certificates, some medals when you're lucky. Into the next slide, how to enter salons. National and international PSSA salons, we all enter through the PhotoVault online website, similar to going to the club competition entries. Just, well, you will click on a, must I show you, or do you, I think you, most of the people know how to do that. And on international salons, you normally enter through the host's website. So on that screen that I showed you earlier, you will have a reference to a website. You click on that, and that takes you to the place where you enter for the salon. What are acceptances? In the case of PSSA and FIAP, when you talk about digital images, it's normally the top 20 to 25% of entries that are accepted as acceptances, that get acceptances, probably better. Except for the PSSA print section, because they encourage people to enter prints, they've raised the limit for that to between 25 and 35% of images. And the COMs, which is an abbreviation for certificates of merits, the top 10% of acceptances get a certificate of merit. Going to the next line, why do I want acceptances? I've said that already. Most of the clubs also require their members to get acceptances from a certain level upwards. For instance, CTPS from intermediate to advanced, they require, we require a minimum of 10 awards, and I can't see under the screen here, but Leslie, 5 acceptances I think we require for the first, for intermediate to advanced.
Yes,
and then we require another 10 to go up to salon level. So you need it if you want to progress in the class. So particularly enjoy getting a copy of the salon catalog to see what the best photographs looks like and what is trending nationally and internationally. Another reason to get it is to get diamond ratings, which can lead to PSSA honors based on salon acceptances, which I will go in a little bit more detail on some of the next slides. And then also to compete nationally in the PSSA Impala Trophy, which I will also get into more detail soon. This is a Salon catalog. For those of you that haven't seen a Salon catalog, let me see whether I can show you. For instance, is the Salon that we did in 2019. You can see it had 6 categories here. And
Nicole, the link, when you click on the links, because you're in the edit mode, it's not taking us through to the link.
You see my normal presentation screen again.
Yeah, we're just seeing the edit mode. Yeah, so we can't see your links.
All right. But perhaps I should have practiced this a bit with you, Leslie, before the time.
Yeah.
Okay, what are diamond ratings? Diamond ratings are given for achievement by PSSA members in South African national and South African international salons with the PSSA patronage. Plus all other international salons under the auspices of the Royal Photographic Society, the Society of Photographic Society of America, Australian Photographic Society, Chinese Photographic Society, as well as FIAP. So it's basically almost all the international salons that we normally compete in count towards diamond ratings. And diamond ratings are awarded for digital video. Nothing works in the edit mode. And in digital, on digital and print categories, you get diamond ratings for color, open, color, natured, and mono open categories. So you've got quite a few different categories that are covered by diamond ratings. It's important to keep in mind that that no more than 50% of your acceptance point might be claimed from international or overseas based salons, and a maximum of 3 images, three acceptances per image, and that's the lifetime of the image. So it's not only in that 1 year. It counts the whole lifetime of that image counts, and you are not allowed to change the name of the image after your first acceptance. That's obviously how they keep track of how many images you have got acceptances for. There's again a reference where you can find more information on diamond ratings. Diamond ratings are given in 3 for 3 mediums: digital, heavy. 1 diamond rating in digital, for instance, you need 15 acceptances. For 2 diamond ratings, you get 30, and every time it doubles. For 3, 60, for 4, 125, and for 5, 250 acceptances. And also, what changed a year ago is that they opened the first 3 categories, the first, second, third diamond rating categories, to non-members of the PSA as well. But from 4 and 5 and onwards, you have to be a member of the PSSA.
Nicole, I've got a question there. Is it per year or is it in total? What are these acceptances?
Sorry, just repeat it for me, Dieter.
Are these acceptance numbers that you give in this table, are they for a specific year or just in total?
No, that's for lifetime. So if you get, if it takes you, for instance, 3-4 years to get to 3 diamond ratings to get 60 digital acceptances, get it at that stage. So you keep it from year to year. That's the important difference with the Impala trophy, which I will come to in the next slide or 2.
Nicole, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Can you backdate them?
Yes, you can, because obviously you could earn them before you were a member of the PSA. And then continue with diamond ratings. For the fourth level of diamond rating, these days, it's also started new about a year ago. You can apply for a DPSSA honors. For digital, you need 125, like we said on the previous slide. You can apply for a EPSSA for 500 acceptances, or for 250 acceptances, but in 2 separate divisions, and so on. You can go to EPSSA cluster or a EPSSA melee for respectively 750 or 1,000 different acceptances, but the categories underneath as well. I'm going to go through all of that. If you're interested, I will send this, the presentation to you. Also note that if you have 3 diamond rating, you do not need an LPSSA before applying for an APSSA. Everybody, I suppose, know what LPSSA and APSSA mean as far as honors are concerned. So
Okay,
you
maybe just
need,
explain that.
you know, you can apply for honors not based on salons, but based on a panel of images that you submit for adjudication twice a year to the 12 angry men judges of the PSSA, and they go through it. And if you for instance put in a panel as an application for an LPSSA, you need 10 images. If they are all accepted, or I think something like 75% of them are accepted by the judges, then they will allow, what's the word? Give you a LPSSA honors. The next level is the APSSA, and that require 15 different images. And the top level is called the FPSSA, which is a fellowship of the Photographic Society of South Africa, and you get that on a panel, I think, of 25 images. It is, I think, a fairly difficult honor to get. Well, I was going to say perhaps it's easier to get it on diamond ratings, but then some people will disagree. National acceptances can be used for international honors, similar to the DPSSA and the EPSSA that we talked about for national ones. FIAP gives an A FIAP or a E-FIAP for 40 or 250 acceptances respectively. Interesting that they, for instance, for the A-FIAP, they require 40 acceptances from at least 50 images in 15 salons from 8 countries, and 10% of acceptances must be from prints. FIAP is similar, but based on 250 acceptances. Now we come to Impala Trophy. The Impala Trophy competition runs from the 1st of July every year to the 30th of June every year, and it's just finished, so the new one is starting on the 1st of July. And the eventual trophies and certificates are only given to PSSA members, but everybody can take part. So a lot of the competition actually involves non-members of the PSSA as well. But at the end of the year, if they appoint a winner, for instance, of the Impala Trophy, then that person has got to be a PSSA member. Note that Impala points will be gained from national and international salons approved by the PSSA held within the borders of South Africa. Note that it's different to the requirement of diamond ratings. So, for instance, if you have an international circuit, and the circuit consists normally of, well, 4 salons, it could be more. I think it could be 3 as well. It could be 5 or 6 different salons inside the one circuit. Then you only get Impala Trophy points on the South African section. So if there are no South African sections, you don't get points for that. Maximum 3 acceptances per image, same as under diamond ratings. Again, you're not allowed to change the name. The 10 highest scorers on the combined PDI Impala log will each receive Impala Top 10 award, which will be a certificate. What they've another thing that they've always had is the highest scorer per club on the combined PDI log will receive a club top achiever award. And I think this year it will be for us between Chris and Dieter, whoever got over the last hurdle first, or rather through the finishing line first. But that non-members are only removed at the conclusion of the year, but they can still compete, like I said earlier. There's also a Premier Club Award, which is, I was going to say new, but it's been there many years ago, and then they started to bring it back now. It's the club that accumulates the most Impala points in all sections combined during Impala year will be the winner of the Premier Club Award. And this will include PSSA as well as non-PSSA members' acceptances. I think it will probably evolve into quite an important competition for clubs, and clubs will be seen in the light of doing very well and being a good club if they perform well in that competition. Top 3 in the country top 3 clubs in the country will get some kind of award, and the winner in each region. So, for instance, the Western Cape will have a winner of that award for the region as well. And the award will be awarded from this year onwards. The international and the national salon, you get points, you know, which is obviously you get 1 point for a national salon acceptance. If you get it in the international salon, it counts 2 points. For certificates of merit, the local one is 2 points, the international one gives you 3 points, and so on. For instance, up to the PSSA gold medal, which is only awarded internationally, it will give you 6 points. So if you see the numbers that are thrown around of how many points they've accumulated, take this into account. It's not acceptances. Obviously, there's a cost involved in it. Can work out quite expensive if you take part regularly, especially on the international salon side. But then they didn't tell me that I've started getting interested in photography to save money, I guess. Normally, you have 6 categories in each salon, and you can enter a maximum of 4 images in a category. Normal cost 11 Rand per image. But PSSA members in the local and national ones get 4 Rand per image discount. So, for instance, to enter one salon with 6 categories with 4 images will cost 264 Rands, which happens roughly twice a year. So, you know, it's a fair drain on the cash. But PSA members will then get a 96 Rand discount, and they will pay 168 Rand. If you plan to take part, however, regularly in salons, you will save money over the year, because if you take part in at least 6 salons, you will save more than what the PSSA membership will cost you. On the PSSA salon membership, for instance, the one that's coming up this year, there are 2 junior salons. In the case of CTPS, those people with advanced from beginner and intermediate can take part in that, and it's free entry. So it's a good way of getting started for people that especially need those acceptances to gain advancements in the club. There are 3 international salons. including 2 with print sections. So it's a good opportunity to try to get your international prints if you're interested in applying for AFIAP or EFIAPs. And there are 24 national salons, of which one's also got a print section. International salons could be quite expensive, normally varying between about €20 to €50, which it's normally for all the sections of the salon. But what we have started now with the help of Philip de Lange is that in my monthly blog, we will list a number of affordable salons. And we will highlight the salons coming up over the next few months that are less than, I think, 12 or 15 euro. Oh, sorry, less than 20 euro. Sorry, I can't, half my screen is actually behind the pictures. So if I miss some words, then that's the reason. The last section of my side of the presentation, before I hand over to Chris, is, it's really annoying. I don't know how to, let me make it a bit smaller. See whether I can move it out of there. Sorry, just hold on a second. Can you still see the screen?
Yeah, we can. It says it's the
Okay, so the individual.
Nicole, sorry, we're having a little trouble with your sound. It comes and goes and gets a bit garbled. I wonder if you can maybe talk a little closer to the mic.
Okay. I wonder, yeah, it could be something with my setup. Is that a bit better?
Yeah, it's better if you're talking closer. Yeah, thank you.
The standing, and this is before the last salon results came out. The last salon was the Hegel Salon, which came out over the weekend, but the statistics I pulled here was before that. So at that stage, Twix Jonker of Bloemfontein Club had a total of 354 points and was in the current first position. And if you look at the second one, which is Martin Barber, who spoke to us last month, there's a bit of a distance between the two, so I think it's likely that she probably will win the competition this year. And then Simon Fletcher is not too far behind Martin Barber, and a guy called Willem Kruger, 15 Hugh Jooste on 312 is lying in 5th position. The first Western Cape person on that list is Marlene Legrandsie from Tygerberg, who collected 148 points and is in 43rd position. So you can see how far the whole region is actually lagging behind the other northern provinces, if I can call it that. Chris Kutsi and Dieter Butau are the two guys that's leading the CDPS charts, and they were at that stage in 113th and 137th position. And you can see how competitive it is if you compare their 2 point scores, 73 versus 70, and there's a difference of 24 positions between those two scores. So there's a lot of competition, obviously, and I think something like, I'm guessing now, but I looked at it before, there were about 1,000 people taking part in salons. Their CDPS did fairly well. There were only 3 print salons, which is also the minimum of print salons there have to be before they award an Impala trophy. So Kim Stevens will probably get the trophy this year, followed by Charlene Gerber from Photo Challenge Club, and then Anna will be in 3rd position. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of print salons in a year. Therefore, I'm also always trying to, if we do a salon, to include a print section with it as well.
Nicole, can I ask a question quickly?
Sure.
If you go back 2 slides.
Yeah.
Those points, if one partakes in an overseas salon,
yeah,
like that German salon that travels through 3 cities or something.
Yes.
Those points, are they picked up automatically, or does one have to report them, or do they not count in here at all, or how does that work?
No, just as I explained before, note that your international salons do not count towards the Impala log.
Okay.
Unless it is a PSSA under PSSA auspices. So obviously the international salons hosted by a club or the PSSA themselves in South Africa will count. Or if you have a circuit like the one you mentioned, I don't know what the name was, but if that hasn't got a local South African salon in it, then nothing counts. Or if it's got a South African salon in that circuit, then only the acceptances in that section counts towards the Impala log. Does that make sense?
So, yeah, the fact that somebody here made it possible that one can partake at a lower cost or whatever doesn't mean that it's a local salon included, because I don't think it was. It was just 3 legs over there, and so it doesn't count.
Yes, but we do one, I've forgotten what the name is now, every year, where Edenvale Club is hosting a section or a salon within that circuit, and the rest of the countries that host this are all in Europe. So I've forgotten what the name is. It could be that one that you refer to, in which case the Edenvale salon will count for us, but not the other 3 sections.
I think it was called GIP or something like that. I think.
No, GIP is not it hasn't got a South African salon in it. I'm thinking of something else. In any case, it'll come to me later.
I think it was CCC. It had
Is
a
it?
South African league, yeah.
Okay. But does it make it clear to you? Okay. It's good. All right. So let's look at the clubs. How are they doing? These are obviously the statistics that they will look at when they determine the winner of the Premier Club Award that I spoke about earlier. And you can see how strong the northern regions are. I mean, you've got southern suburbs lying in first position. You've got AFO, which is a Pretoria-based club, and Van der Bijl Park, all within the top 5. And the second one on the list is actually Bloemfontein. And the first club from our region that features on it and lying in 5th position, which I think is pretty good, is Tygerberg. Unfortunately, CDPS is lagging a little bit behind there, and you can see the difference there between, for instance, Tygerberg and CDPS. They almost got double the number of acceptances or points that we have. And then if you compare it per member, we're doing pretty poorly. Then also featuring in the top 5 in the region will be Tafelberg, which is not far behind us, and Hermanus and Fischhoek. And now if you look at Fischhoek, for instance, they've got 246 points, and they've only got 32 members. And that, I think, is a particularly good performance by them. So I really think that this is an area that I hope that CDPS will improve on by getting more members to take part, and especially some of our best photographers to actually take part in salons. It's interesting if we compare CDPS, and this is very small, you won't see it unfortunately. The orange line is the number of members of Tygerberg. Certain point that my cursor is there. I hope you can see it. Is 180. That's Marlene Legrand's score. She got that. And they've got about 4 or 5 people scoring more than our best. So you can see if you look at that graph, And the gap between the two is much longer. You know, we probably haven't got many more than about 8 people regularly taking part in salons, whereas I guess they've got high in the 20s, say 27, 28 that regularly take part. And I think let's have some questions. That's my whole presentation. And if you just send me an email or a WhatsApp or something if you want a copy of this. But I'm going to take this off now and then go back to the normal conversation. Leslie, how do I do that?
So Nicole, go to the top and you have you can stop your screen sharing.
There. Okay. You are screen sharing, stop sharing. Okay, lovely. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Yes, I have. Seem to me I'm the only
The
one.
blog address, I'll send that out tomorrow, the correct blog address for Nicole's blog. You won't be able to see that address that he gave. It's only for admin members. Okay.
We've got Dieter, do you try to ask a question?
Yeah, I still have a question because I haven't been doing it for a long time and there's still a couple of unclear things. The question of you are not allowed to change an image's name, but at the same time, I was informed that one can improve an image and resubmit it. So what, or keep on using an image after you've learned more and you've improved it.
Yes.
So I normally then give that improved image a new name.
No,
So,
you must be careful. If it's the same image, you cannot rename it. If you can improve an image, but you've got to call it by the same name. And I often improve images from previous acceptances, you know, where you see flaws or something in it. So, but you've got to keep the same name for the same image. And you're also not allowed 2 similar images. So for instance, if you take a burst of 10 photographs in a second, you can't submit those 10 different names.
yeah, but if you, I saw there's in PhotoVault an archive function. So
Yes.
would one take the original image and archive it and then upload your improved image with the same name, or what would you do?
That's probably the best way of doing it. I end up often with 5 or 6 different images, different images in PhotoVault, but with the same name and the same image. You know, so then I would, you know, if you look at the way they come up on this PhotoVault screen, your most recent submission will be the highest on that list. But it's better to take out the ones that you're not going to use in future anymore and archive them.
And does the history of where you submitted a particular image, how is that history preserved if you upload it again?
No, the new one that you upload won't have a history. The old ones will have the history of where they were submitted.
One could excellently hand in a similar image at the same club, which you shouldn't do.
No, you shouldn't do it, but you know, and you've got to be careful that you don't exceed the 3 images either, you know, for salons.
Okay, thanks.
So you actually need, I would say you need to keep separate records for yourself, which I do, and I'm sure Chris will confirm that. You've got to keep it somewhere outside of PhotoVault. PhotoVault is not actually designed to do that function for you.
Nicole, a question.
Oh, sorry.
Kim is starting to trying to ask a question. Kim?
Yeah, no, it's not really a question. Just to reiterate what you said, I think your housekeeping, you really got to keep it in order, because I've just done the fear thing and my things were everywhere. It was a nightmare to sort it out. But now that I've got it and I've kept all the right names and, you know, the files under which salons and all the names and everything. So I just hope to keep it like in order now. But, you know, I started very randomly doing international salons here and there, and you know, I wasn't sort of record keeping. And then when I decided to enter this thing, to find all those records and to cross-reference them was a nightmare. So just, if you're going to start, just start, you know, keeping a folder with everything in it, all the right names, everything, just so that it makes it easier in the long run.
Kim, I totally agree with you. I had the same problems. Because sometimes, I mean, my acceptance could go back 5 years, and you've got to tell them even the what they call the number, the auspices number, or what do they call it?
Yes, that number.
That number you've got to give to them when you submit it for your AFIAP, for instance. So you keep full records of everything, every acceptance that you got. I keep it on a spreadsheet. I've got about 15 different sheets in there, etc., etc. So,
what is this auspices number?
That's on the. If you go to that website, which I refer to for FIAP, you will see on their list of salons. They've got a location number. It normally consists of four digits is the year, like it's 2020 / and then followed by another number. That's their approval that salon can be hosted under their name.
Now that is the salon's number.
Yeah.
And also, please remember to keep all your results.
Yeah.
Even the
emails, it's best to keep the emails that they send you with the results, if there's acceptance in it. Because you've got to submit all those type of things to prove that you got it. It's easier with the South African one. So the guy that does it is Jeff Felden, and he has got access to those records going back many years, you know, for the local records. But internationally, it's not so easy.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Jacoba?
Yeah.
Mike, are you trying to ask a question?
Yes, I am. Just to confirm, you say we're not taking part in salons. You're only taking part in the salon if you accept it. These are not entries to the salon, it's acceptances of the salon, by the salon.
If you're talking about the Impala Trophy and the Diamond ratings I talked about, yes, those are only acceptances for salons, not the number of entries that you put in.
You're saying we have very poor performance in salons, but those are the acceptances. But are there a lot of people actually entering the salon but not being accepted?
Yeah, and a lot of people that are getting acceptances, they also enter many more photographs that they don't get acceptances for. I mean, when I started a few years ago submitting entries for salons, I think it took me 4 salons where I entered 24 photographs in each salon before I got my first acceptance. So it is actually quite tough, and sometimes, Chris, I'm sure that you get despondent, you know, if you don't do well.
I'm going to talk about this.
Yeah, of course, that's the important part of the emotional cycles you go through.
But it's short.
No, you can win a com at a salon, and the other 3 that's worth it, you win nothing.
Yeah. I've also had acceptance, and you've got to just accept the judgment of the judges. You know, it doesn't help to worry too much about it. Just say thank you when they give it to you, and wish them better luck next time when they don't give it to you. But for instance, as a story I've probably told some of you before, in 2 salons, a fortnight apart, print salons, about 2-3 years ago. The one was the one was Van der Bijl Park, I think, and the other one was Sandton. In Sandton, I got I won a medal, the winner's medal, And then Van der Bijl Park phoned me and said, can I please allow them to they will go and fetch all my entries for the print salon in Sandton, and they will judge it in Van der Bijl Park. And I said yes, obviously thinking that I will do well. And that same print didn't even get an acceptance. So those type of things happen. It depends on the judges, and you know, the bit of a luck of the draw sometimes as well. Maar moenie moed opgee nie, as they say.
They say the first sign of craziness is when you bump your head against the wall 20 times and you expect a different result.
Well, that's not true as far as acceptances are concerned. And I mean, the way to look at it is to actually say, what's different walls, you know? Okay, any questions more? Leslie, in case, I suppose you can hand it over to Chris.
Yeah, Chris, it's over to you if you'd like to go ahead with your presentation.
I'm here. Am I connected? Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you. Yeah.
Great. Nicole asked me to speak to those of you who've had similar experiences. And I can see some very accomplished photographers here on my panel. So I don't know who of you do not enter salons and should be. So I'm speaking to you. And you have many distinguished and well accomplished photographers looking down. But I have a proposal for you, the well-established photographers, just at the end of my chat. So I'm going to go through my journey and how I felt. And maybe you can resonate, comment as you like. I was reluctant to enter salons. This goes back to 2014. I was a beginner. I was an amateur photographer. I had a little camera and I was not good enough and I did not have the images to show. You know, I guess there was the fear of failure. I'm not ready. Oh man, it was endless. I think most of us, some of us go through those motions. And I realized and discovered that, oh, this is anonymity. I was not a member of any club at that stage. I was like man alone. So for those of you who have not entered a salon, nobody really knows your results. It's not like your report card that comes home to your parents and they only look at the failures and not the successes. But when you win and when you do receive an acceptance, well, that is your time to present yourself and enjoy that moment. I think the only person one has to fear with regard to salons is oneself. And the key issue is how to approach this. And I'm sure many of you who've had a lot of experience have learned. But it is a little bit of a tough road. I realized that after some time, until I joined a club and left and joined my club, CTPS, and I realized I'm competing with a full spectrum of photographers. That would mean the bottom, the middle, the advanced, and the very advanced. So it is a big deal to have an acceptance. It's actually quite an honor because you have so many competent photographers competing in that same space. And I must tell you, and you will know, it forces you to examine yourself, examine where you are lacking in photography. And it's just a simple driver for improvement. It's a lot of work, and I found it's absolutely worth it. I remember attending a meeting at Tigerberg Photographic Club, at that club. And our beloved friend in photography, Christo, revealed the astronomical results that this club had achieved in a short period of time. And the stats that Nicole revealed bear testimony to that. I was blown away. And I thought, well, why doesn't CTP, why aren't we here? You know, it was a passing thought. It stayed with me. And I didn't really know. And I think Nicole has has highlighted a very, very, very important point. I came to the conclusion back in the day, well, I have a camera. I like photography. I love photography. I love the art form. I love the pastime and all that stuff that appeals to us as photographers. So what am I going to do with my photographs? Just put them in a dustbin or share them with my dog, my cat, my friends, my family, and nobody really gives a toss. So I decided at that time I wrote articles and published them, but that was not as satisfying as putting my photos out there and let them be judged. And one of the avenues was to be a part of Salons. So I did enter, of course. My first entry, I went back last night to have a look, it was 2014, right about there. I set up my entry. I just didn't have the courage to press that finalize my entry button. So I didn't. The second one, I entered 3 disqualifications, underperform. And, but there was one image that scored 27 points. So it was like 4 points away from acceptance, I think, roughly about there. And that gave me some encouragement. And I still remember receiving my first set of results. I did not see, all I saw was accepted. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm a natural. I'm in the winning land. I did not see do not accepted. They were all not accepted. And the third salon I entered was 3 acceptances, then none, then 1, and so on. And that was just the journey. I think we all know that it takes 1 or 2 seconds to make an impression. And I think this is the key in. You've decided to enter the salon. You've taken the first step. And you need to allow enough time to examine your competition. Go through the rules. You know, honestly, the disqualifications I had was simply because I did not read, understand, or apply the rules. The rules, it seems like they were written and rewritten, then edited by an illiterate attorney, and then somebody added something to make it sound simpler. So they're hell of a complicated, I think. But all you're looking for is really, it's color, right? It's wildlife, it's animals, exclude birds. No manipulation allowed. What manipulation am I allowed? Because adjustments am I allowed? There are certain things that you can do, and you can find that out. And then the open category, well, it's just like a wide open freeway. You can do what you want to. So those are the aspects that you really need to read before you enter this competition. It's important that you are completely au fait with the rules. So you need to select your panel, obviously, and just have a look. And remember that impression that you have to make. And, you know, it is not necessarily, you know, it's a tricky one. But the voice of your photo, that voice, that thing that says something, it's one voice. There's not a lot of chatter in your image. It is a voice that says, this is it. And this is what I'm presenting. And it's centered on your subject. I found that the photos that really do well are the ones that evoke a simple emotion. I mean, we're all emotional junkies. Of course we are, and so are the judges. And when that hook, when that link is there to your photograph, and it's a clear link, it's a simple thing. You know, there's so many examples I can give you. And simplicity is really the key to all of this. We often, and I speak for myself, tend to try and overcompensate and do more, and it's not good enough. But the simple images with a simple message, the balanced image is really the one that does well, astoundingly well. So I think for me, the turning point was when I got to know the elements of art and design, the principles of art and the elements of design. These are important issues, because if you're a beginner and you've never entered a photograph before, and you understand these simple rules of photography and rules of art, I mean, this is a formula that you can take and apply. You can't apply everything because it's not too much, but there's some key elements you need to apply. And once you've done that, even if you're a beginner a photographer and a first-time entrant, you will have applied structure to your image. And remember, the judges will be looking for that. They're trained to look for those aspects. So include those very, very important principles in your photograph. And if I'm speaking to absolute beginners, if I'm not, I'm sorry, but we all know about the University of YouTube. There's no limit. There are forums, there are many, many areas in that you can extract and apply this knowledge. It is really important. The structure, the composition of your image is probably, from a judge's perspective, that impact, that message, that voice is going to score you more points. If the judge overlooks your image, because you didn't have that, he's not going to look any further. But if you're connected with the judge and he or she sees, I see something special here, they're going to look at your composition and establish it. Is your photograph balanced? Is it harmonious? I mean, these are general terms, but if you really think about it, is your subject balanced with an additional subject? Does the second subject, the addition to your photograph, a hand extended, does it dominate? It's just a balance. And in life, I guess everything is just about a balance. If we achieve that balance in conversation, in friendships, in relationships, things go well. And the same, I learned, applies to photography and the images that you bring. Look, that is the one thing I'm saying. Apply the basic principles of art, let's say, general term. Apply them. Rule of thirds, rule of odds. Once you've applied them to your image, then don't lose silly points because of little issues like, you know, a blotch, a smudge, your subject is out of photo. I would not say always, and sometimes one becomes overconfident. Don't run this check before you submit your image. And that is to zoom in at 200, 250% on your editor and scan left to right, top to bottom, across. Just look for blemishes, a skew horizon, a slightly out of focus subject. Well, if it is out of focus, be warned. The technical aspects of your photo actually count very little for those of you who don't know. It's kind of at the bottom, around about 15 or 20% of the points awarded to an image would be taken on technical aspects. So, but if you got it wrong, and you left a big fat smudge on your image, the judge is going to say, hang on a second here, this is not a photographer that is following the rules and applying all the principles. It was right there. So those are areas that will make a judge look at your image completely differently. He might have liked it in the beginning, or she might have liked it in the beginning stages, but that just discounted, that blemish just discounted. So, and they're easy to remove. You know, burnt pixels on old cameras are also a common problem. You won't really see it on your screen. Sorry, I'm telling you, those that you know, you know what I'm saying, and those that you don't, just be warned. So judges like a clean, good quality submission. So in that phase, you've applied your art, your elements of art, you've structured your image, and you've cleared out all the clutter. You've already upscaled your image to competition level. So, all right, in closing, you receive your results. It's not what you expected. Allow yourself a few moments of mourning, self-incrimination if you want to, but don't stay there for very long. Just move on to the next competition, because subjectivity is really one of the unfair aspects of competitions, in my view. I know many of you may not agree with me, but it's not like as if we're submitting our image to a computer and they analyze your result based on a mathematical formula. No, there's the human element, and your judges will judge your photograph based on their perceptions, their opinions, their feelings. instead of just looking at it without subjectivity. And it's not going to happen. You will find, and I think many of you will concur, that certain clubs over time will appreciate your photographs. Others will kick you out the back door because they don't like your style of photography, because it's just a generic thing. And I think what Nicole has said, in our club, we have 120 members with 8 participants. There are so many of the members that are competition ready. Success breeds success. And if I look at that, the club Tigerberg, I think that is what has happened there. They've learned from each other. They've built, they stand on each other's shoulders. They look, they borrow, they test, they stand. And the standard gets higher and higher. And the standard can only improve if we test ourselves, put ourselves out there, and, you know, improve based on the feedback that we've had. So, okay, looking at the individual scores, your individual score, it's either a win or a lose. Don't take it like that. Look at the points that have been awarded to you. I tend to, in my way of handling PhotoVault, I tend to tag my images accordingly. So if I'm entering a competition and I go back to some entrants that I haven't used, I could tag it unentered or acceptance 1, acceptance 2, or certificate of merit, so that those appear before me. And it's quite useful in that way, although it's very limited. So that is what I want to tell you. If you've not entered, let's make this club proud and do it. So that is my talk to those of you that have not entered. But those of you that have entered and have achieved, and I've seen your work, it's absolutely outstanding. I had a chat to Nicole this morning that I think, and it's up to the club to decide and the members to decide, but I think a mentorship program could really assist those who've never entered a competition before. That they, for the first 2 or 3, for example, competitions, they would submit their proposed entries to that mentor. That mentor would then comment, return, chat, adjust, and they would be on their way, just to make it less lonely, because it is quite daunting to do that. So that is a proposal that I'm making, and it's up to you and up to Nicole to take it further. But I think there may just be some people who would need help. So, okay, I've gone through my chat. That's what I want to tell you. Nicole has asked me to share some photos. So I'm going to do that very quickly, if that's okay. Are we okay?
Great, thank you.
Then I'm out of here. Yes, okay. So just give me a sec, please. Share screen. No, out, go. I guess I'm okay. Are we all right? Can you hear me?
Do you know how to share screen?
I am doing that now. Can you see? Can you see an image?
No, not yet.
No? Okay, let me just go back again. Just bear with me a sec, please. Going back to Zoom. I have a button here that says share screen.
Yeah.
Right?
Click on that. Yeah, and then you need to choose which of the screens you wish to share.
I guess I will choose photos unknown. So say share. Sorry, people. Open system preferences, whoops. Okay, just a second here. I have a file called, let me just try, no, desktop is not the one. So share, open system preferences. Are we there? No. Okay. Zoom, okay, got it. I'll be there in a moment. Okay. Not leave meeting, cancel. Sorry about the fumbling. Zoom app. Just give me a sec, sorry. Okay, so I've allowed that. I'm going to try it one more time if it doesn't work. Are you seeing me now?
Yes, it's starting to come.
Starting to come. That's it. Yeah.
Okay, let me go from this. Because what I want to tell you about wildlife photography, I mean, we live in this country, you know what, there's a lot to photograph. It's an easy entry, not a lot of editing, but a lot of competition. There are plenty of people. But it gives you an opportunity to express what you experienced in those special moments out in the wild. And it does not take a lot of time to go back and look at all those wildlife images. If you're a birdie, this is the place for you, because there are not a lot of people that do bird photographs. And very often it's an exclusive category, or it's shared with wildlife. Sunsets all around us, non-stop. Even on a dark, gloomy day like today, you can extract images, raging seas. I mean, we have it all. Lovely orange lights and beautiful moments to capture. You can even go, if you don't like your image, then manipulate it. I don't know where this image is going to go, but I'm working on it still. But black and white, monochrome, tell a story, take some of your images and put them together and send it out there. You know, just an expression, a moment, and let the judges decide. Composites are easy. If you don't have photos to offer, make them. Portraits, do what you want to do. There's some that are open. It doesn't have to be from the front. It can be from the back. Architecture, you know, really literally the sky is the limit. Photojournalism, there's another opportunity. And capturing these crazy moments. And street photography, people just around you. Die Bokke Wen, you know, you just need to be at that point. And in the right category, you can score a lot of points. Some kids just desperate for something glorious, a Coke or something. And travel photography. I mean, that is a huge category. And they're not always, in my opinion, I'm just going to stop there. I'm going to get back to you. In my opinion, am I still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, let me just, in my opinion, there are categories where there are less. Wildlife is tough, but the others, you have more opportunity. So I'm going to sign out now. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Nicole, and everybody for listening to me.
Yes.
Thanks, Chris.
Chris, will you just unshare your screen? That's it. Thanks, Chris. Nice talk. Thank you. And we appreciate it. Any questions for Chris?
I like his idea of the mentorship. I think that's a very, very good idea. I think we should definitely go forward on that.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea because, like he says, it's a lonely process, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So it's good to have someone to bounce ideas off and bounce images off and just see, am I doing the right thing?
Yeah. And I mean, it is about a good photograph. And even, I mean, we've got many good photographers here. Even people that haven't entered many entries into salons will be able to be a mentor, you know, in that respect.
For sure.
Can I just share how Nicole sort of encouraged me to start doing salons, because I got very despondent. Then he said to me, look at the point you got and what the acceptance point was, and work out how far in percentage you actually are from getting an acceptance. So, and he says, if you've 90% there, enter it again and again, because that's 1 or 2 points away from an acceptance. And that means that just one judge had to give you one higher point and you would have gotten it. And he should probably explain how his system works, but it gives you much more encouragement than all those not accepted, not accepted.
Yeah, what I do is, like I said earlier, I've got a big spreadsheet. In it, I've probably got, at this stage, 3,000 odd entries into salons and the full results of every entry. What I do when I get the results from the salon is I put them into that spreadsheet, and I would mark my acceptances in gold, in yellow, just a yellow highlight on them. And then I also mark the images where I scored within 10% of the acceptance. So if the acceptance limit that they give you with the result is, say for instance, the 33, and my image scored a 30, I will regard that as within 10% of the acceptance limit. And those are color blue. So when I prepare for the next salon, I would go through my entries, look at the yellows and look at the blues, and decide on those type of things that I can easily see which images try again. But that's just a small admin type of issue. I think Chris has got a very nice system also, and it works differently. So you've got to adapt to what that works for you. Sorry, I don't want to talk all the time again, but Chris said the important thing to me. As far as salons are concerned, much more so than club competitions, you've got to make an impact very quickly. So your images with a wow factor or with high impact score better in salons than others. Even other images that might be better if you can spend some time and get the message out. But in salon entries, you've got to get your message very quickly. I would say on average, you probably do not have much more than 5 to 10 seconds of exposure to the judges. You know, because they go through something like 200 or more images per hour, you know, on average, and that is tea time, eating time, chatting time, everything included. So you've got to have that's why I'm saying your images with impact will do better than other images.
Nicole, just to continue from what you were saying, it's something we've discussed often is where does your image pop up?
How do you mean where?
When you get a good image that pops up amongst excellent photographs, so it doesn't get that score, and you get a mediocre picture that pops up amongst a whole lot of poor pictures and gets a good score.
I would remember that good image or mediocre image is your opinion. It's not the opinion of the judges. So you could get a bunch of judges that disagree with you. Yeah, and that's the way I see it.
No, but what I'm trying to say is where your picture comes up during that slideshow for the salon.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, it could be because there is the judges do get tired. I know that because I've judged a lot. I sat with a lot of people that judge for 4, 5, 6 hours, and sure, you know, when you get towards the end of that, end of that period, you get perhaps you do not look at the images as well as you should be looking at it.
Yeah, there is some element of luck as well.
Sure.
That's why you keep entering. Maybe your luck gets better.
That's right. Chris?
I just wanted to come back to, I think luck is definitely an aspect that does occur. But it is a flaw, I think, in art. But art is for humans, and it's for humans to judge. But when you put it on, extend it to a platform where you have judges, then you have to accept subjectivity is a major, major factor. I think if a photograph is consistently rejected, you're getting 15, 18 points consistently, 2, 3 competitions, then dump it and try something else. And that is how you learn. It's just a ladder.
And often I thought the image is quite good, and then it keeps on getting a bad score. Then I just check it out and try again, something else.
Gary Player once said, the more I practice, the luckier I become.
Absolutely. I agree with you, Colonel.
I find often, this is talking about international salons now, the judge is quite subjective in a way. So often wildlife that might not do well in a local salon does quite well in a European salon because they're not used to seeing it. And whereas here, if we get images of snow and ice-capped mountains and well composed, it's wow, wow, wow. But you know, in Northern America somewhere, you know, it's like every day. So there is that element as well. So maybe pitching your images to your audience.
Yeah, absolutely, Kim, I agree. I mean, example, for instance, Neil Speyers and I have talked about often is both of us took photographs of Bushmen in Namibia.
Mm.
And it's much easier getting acceptance overseas in Europe with that than in South Africa. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's just like playing the system, really.
Yeah, well, we see it even in
a good image will stand out, whatever it is. But those ones that are sort of, you know, pass, not pass. Yeah, definitely subject matter can be obviously subjective.
Yes, it does, yeah.
When you submit to the East, you make sure you read from right to left.
Any more questions? I think there are a few things that we must do, but we, you know, don't want to discuss it here. But if you've got any ideas or any suggestions, please come through, and through council, I will take it further. But I think there are definitely a few things that we have to do, because I actually feel a little bit embarrassed if I look at CTPS's performance. And I think we're the biggest club in South Africa, because I've never seen any club with figures with membership higher than ours. So I think we should do much better. If you go and do a calculation and you develop, you divide our points we got by the members, you will see that we actually per member we're doing awfully badly. And actually, if you take the average of those top 5 clubs in the country, and you say that's what we will be doing, we would have scored 100 points more than the winner of the category. And I think per average member or per capita, we've got the best photographers that I've ever seen in any club. More than enough.
Nicole, of
Yeah,
our numbers, how many of them are actually active photographers?
I think they're all, a lot of them are active, but they're not active in salons.
Yeah.
That's why I mentioned earlier briefly that I looked at I've got the numbers here on my computer, but I can't share it for some reason. In Tigerberg's case, they've got something like 36 people that entered into salons over the year, obviously ranging from the Marlenes with 180 points to quite a few with only 1 point. We've got something like 21 people who entered. So first of all, I mean, if they entered 35, then we should have entered 45 or 50, really, if you compare the two clubs. But of that 21 that we have, I reckon there are only about 8 people that enter regularly. If I look at their 35 people, there was something like 27 or 28 of them that entered regularly, every salon. So obviously, it's very obvious which direction it will go.
When I've been to their club, every month they put up a spreadsheet and they talk about salon entries. So I think it sort of propagates the desire to enter. So whereas CTPS, we never really ever talk about it. It is in the newsletter. If you tell Anna, then it will go through. But I think if at the meetings, you know, we can say, okay, well, this month we had 5 entries into exam, so many acceptances, then it does kind of spur people on, reminds them. So I wrote that in the chat somewhere. So just that's something to think about.
I would definitely propose that at some stage to council that we do that. because that is how they started. And I've heard that from Lynn Crew, Hayes, who is the current chairperson, and as well as from Francois Dubois. And it was Legrancis that started it, and specifically Christo Legranci. And about three years ago, they just started reporting on this, and it created such a lot of enthusiasm because people got recognition. You know, people that might not be necessarily the best photographer that scores the best points all the time. You know, it is somebody who's got more photographs who can submit it to salons, and then they started getting credit. And I think we should do something like that. But there are other things that we should do as well. For instance, they to reach their 5-star level, they've got to submit something like 86 salon acceptances. In CDPS, we're required to do 15. That shows you the difference that of value that we place on salons compared to what they do. You know? So from an early age, they actually said you got to get salon acceptances to make progress in this club, and we're not doing the same thing. So I think we should have a look at that again. You know.
Yeah.
I started entering to go to master, and I start entering salons at the beginning of our photographic year. And when I get 10, I stop. And then October, I enter again. I just go for the 10 and then I stop.
I've noticed that, Jacoba, is very naughty of you. Yeah. So what you say we should do, we should raise that bar to 30.
Yeah, maybe we need to push it a bit higher. Maybe 10 is too easy.
A lot of people get it by February. You know, which is after about 4 or 5 competitions you master. Kim, I'm not talking about you. Ordinary people like me.
Yeah, maybe we should look at that again as well.
I think that we should come up with that idea of mentoring. That's a very laudable idea.
Yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely. I agree. I've written it down here already. I think we should do it.
And we definitely need to get the Mauritians entering as well. I think we need to sort that out.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think that with a proper mentoring, we can do that.
I participated in some salons.
Yeah.
And I was close to one point to have acceptation, you know, but it's okay. The remedy is to practice, 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 participate, participate, participate.
Yeah. You're right. I noticed your name is on the list. I could actually, I don't know how to pull it out.
Hi, Nicole.
I noticed that you're on the list there for scoring. And also perhaps quite important is that when you start entering, just make sure that you enter your club as CDPS, because that doesn't automatically come up in PhotoVault. You've got to make sure that it is, because then that points are allocated to the club. If you list another club or list as independent, it doesn't come to CDPS. Are there any other comments or?
But in PSSA last time I got a certificate of merit. That's not bad.
That's very
fantastic.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Yeah. Which one was that? The one it was around about February.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. That's I saw that.
So come on, Antonio. You need a few more, and then you need to move up in the rankings as well.
Yeah. Yes. I must speed.
Thanks, Nicole. I'm going to say goodbye. I need to go and switch the oven off.
Shame, are you on your own tonight?
No, the plug's useless in the kitchen.
They don't know where the plug sits. You just pull the plug. Tell him to pull the plug.
Can I just quickly congratulate Kim on her Impala print trophy win? That really is amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I must say, I wasn't really. wasn't really aiming for it, but now that you've given us a kick up the butt, Nicole, I'll try for the PDIs.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, you must go. Go for that. And then we try
to enter international salon now.
Yeah, where's Anna?
She didn't join tonight. I don't know why.
We must work on her. I'll work on her. Don't worry.
She's number 3 in prints in the country.
Yeah, and she hasn't even tried. Okay, I don't know.
Thanks a lot, Nicole.
Just from my side, thank you very much for joining. And
Thanks to Chris Coetzee too.
yes.
Thank you, Chris.
Pleasure, thank you.
And amazing images you showed us.
Oh, okay.
It's a pity that I was going to run the visual arts section of that 2019 salon that we did, and Chris won it. Won that category, and I think Kim was runner-up. So, and that's quite a good achievement.
Definitely.
What was that for?